Hi everyone, it's Anja here and I'm back with another video for Anja's painting studio. And today I took the train to go on a paint making workshop. So I have here my bag with all my stuff, snacks, very important, coffee, and of course some of my painting supplies so I could do some painting while I was there. And here is my mini travel painting kit. I thought I would take it, and this is the company that I am going to. Art Scribe, they're now called Ferrous and Bone. These are the paints that I have bought from them previously. So now they're going to show me how to make paint. So this is my travel kit, just in case I was able to do some painting while I was there. So I have some brushes and some water and things like that. So here we are on the train on our way to Exeter, and of course I had to do some crochet on the way there. Then I walked from the station to Gandhi Street because the workshop was taking place in Exeter, Phoenix. It's a very interesting location. They've got lots of meeting rooms, lots of things happening there. So of course I was early, so I had to wait a little bit. And here we are in the room where the workshop was going to take place. It was beautifully laid out with all the specialist material for making paint, for actually hand mulling paint. So this is Reggie and Emma, and they are the couple who run this business, Ferrous and Bone, and this is a muller, and they use the special glass and the muller and then make their own paints. So they use pigments that they buy from pigment makers all over the world basically, and you take some of the pigment and then you put it on the glass and you add some things to it, and those things, I'll tell you later in a moment what they are. They have developed their own recipe, so that makes their paints special and different from other paints. And of course commercially available paints are made by machines and things like that, but here making them by hand of course gives them the opportunity to test the paints in between and see how fine or how well mixed they are and things like that, and that makes that of course the paint is of a superior quality because Reg has been able to see with his own eyes the quality of the paint that he has been making. So he added some water to the pigment and now he is spreading it out on the glass ready for mulling.
And then you want to start mulling.
So here, as you can see, he's making ultramarine blue, and you have to mull in different stages and for different lengths of time. So here, to begin with, you're just mulling the pigment with water to refine the pigment. So the pigment is quite coarse when it comes out of the tub, so you just need to make it much finer. Now he has just tried it, and of course the pigment isn't sort of bound yet, it's just there suspended in water. Now we're going to add some honey, which will act as a preservative, and then he's going to mull some more, so making sure that the honey is well taken up into the paint.
So once you've got the honey on there, just add a bit of water to the honey, and that will just mix in really easily.
And now for some more ingredients to the paint to bind the paint together. So this is gum arabic, which they have dissolved into distilled water, I'm assuming, and they have added some essential oils to that. So that's added to the paint. And for each color, they have worked out how much they need of each additive. So it smelled really nice because of all the essential oils, but that's their secret mixture. So this is the gum arabic before it is dissolved. So it's a resin from a tree that you can get, and it's hard, and they have to dissolve it in water. So here we have the paint again being mulled with the gum arabic, the honey and the water, and just look at the brightness of that paint. In the meantime, he has also added some vegetable glycerin, and again there were some special essential oils in there as well. And yeah, so he keeps on mulling it. This is the longer mulling time that we have to do now, so about 25 minutes. And yeah, so the paint will sort of bind together, will become a nice little runny paste. And then once the time is up, you can scrape the paint together as Reg is doing here. The noise was amazing. The scraping of the metal on the glass was just...
Well, sorry about that.
Yes, trying now to get the paint into a little glass pot from the slab was quite an interesting experience, and also, you know, having to do that later on ourselves as well would be quite interesting. And yeah, look at that brightness of the paint, look at how lovely it flows. And also in the meantime, Reg had done some paint strips, as you can see here, and he was happy with the result of his last paint strip, so he was happy to put the paint into the pot ready for putting it in pans. So these are the pigments that we would be working with, and these would of course make the different colors. So I chose the red iron oxide. I thought it was an interesting color, and this is the recipe for what I was going to have to do. So I put my amount of pigment on my glass slab, which by the way, Reg has to resurface or something like that every 3 weeks because he uses them quite a lot for making his paints. And yeah, the glass, you know, it needs to have that certain texture, so that's a lot of work to keep that up as well. So here I have put some water with my paint, and yeah, I needed a little bit more. And oh my goodness, it was quite daunting actually to get started on this because, you know, it's red, it's paint. Am I ever going to get this off this slab? But the slabs were pristine when we started, so I was hoping that it would all come off again as well. So here I am ready, I think, to start mulling. I had done enough with the spatula, and I'm going to try and, yeah, start mulling with the muller. As you can probably see that there are still lots of grains in my paint. So a quick test with a paintbrush on the paper showed me that there was lots of bits in my paint. So obviously the paint wasn't ready. It had to do a lot more mulling. So that's what I did. And then as I did more and more of this sort of going round the paint with my muller on the mulling slab, it turned finer and finer. And also it was a very hot day, so it was drying quite quickly. That's why I wasn't sort of able to flow easily, so I had to put more water, and then of course kept on mulling until it was a much finer consistency. And then we added the honey to the paint as a preservative, and of course more scraping and more mulling was done. And then it was time to add the gum arabic and the vegetable glycerin to the paint, and of course do some more mulling. As you can see, all my paint was drying up because of the heat, and the fan was on as well. So I had to work really hard to keep it liquid and to keep it moist so I would be able to do more mulling. And here, as you can see, I have got a much nicer, smoother paint. Those two blobs here, those are air bubbles. They just would not go away. But I thought I had made this lovely red velvety paint. And I have to say, I love painting with it because it is really nice and smooth. But yes, so this was after about 25 minutes of mulling, and I just thought it was glorious the way the paint moved. And of course, my muller, look, it moved all by itself into the glorious paint. And here is a look at my neighbor. She was making Italian gold ochre, I think. There were some vermilion, some green oxide. The chap on the end, he was making the Prussian blue. Oh my goodness, we made such lovely colors. So this was my work table, and now all that remained was trying to get this paint into a jar. Yes, that was very risky because, of course, you know, trying to not spill the paint and get it all in the jar would be my main concern. Not getting it on my dress. So here we go. Here's the jar, here's the spatula, and there's the paint. So very carefully I had to scrape it in. It was quite the daunting task. I am so very good at not spilling things, but I have to say I did manage it. The concentration on my face was, yes, clear. There we go. And then it was time to fill the pans. So using a pipette, we put the paint into 7 pans. And then after lunch, we divided out these pans. So we all had one color of each color that had been made in the workshop in the morning. So I thought that was a very lovely idea, because then you made one paint, but you went home with all the different colors. So here I am filling my pans, trying to get rid of some of the air bubbles that appeared, but I thought it was a really lovely process to do this. And so yes, this is the red, this is my neighbor's colors, all the colors that had been made in the workshop today. And then in the afternoon we divided out the pans, and these were the ones that we are going to use and that we will be taking home. And then Emma explained some of the exercises that we were going to do to test out our colors and see how bright and how faint they can be, basically how they mix. And I did a couple of these exercises, but also in my notebook. And yeah, so this was a nice thing to do, to have an afternoon where we're just trying out our new paints. And this is what the others were painting as well. So we all had some color scales and trying out the colors to do, and it was just nice to experiment with color. But I managed to fill a small mini palette as well with from my paint, so that was really nice to be able to do that. And yes, so this was the card that Emma gave us from their company. So it's a husband and wife who are enthusiastic about making their own paint, and so they started their own little business, Ferrous and Bone, making their own hand mulled paint in Dartmoor, Devon. So I had a really nice day. I managed to keep the paint horizontal the whole way home, and I have to say, yes, on the train, and it was really hot, so it was not so easy to keep it all straight, but it worked, and I got home without any incident of any paint being spilled outside my paint box. A little bit of the green went, but that's okay. I'll use it from there. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!